I walked alone at night through streets of grey, content to be alone, chasing tales hidden obscure in corners of crooked paths, secrets of those who'd passed that way before. The walls and stones see all, and plain as day reveal the stories to me, their long-lost friend. For years I wandered thus, full well content to slip unnoticed around the edge of life, untouched by the swirling blizzard of human flakes. I watched and listened, marveled and passed on. Then one day a new tale came to me, borne on a breeze of ice from the blackest heart of the shadowy ways of the city of dreadful night, the darkness at the center of that tangled wild. Somewhere in the labyrinth a woman walks, or so the black breeze whispered in my ear. Pale and tall, fragile and great of heart, mighty in soul shrouded in hood of black, walking the city, weeping for her child. And then with tears used up she still walks on, through dark, dry, hopeless, aching night. I loved her then. It is not too strong a word. Her grief scored deep my heart, my spirit shrank at the deadening weight of pain that crushed her soul. I shrank away in fear, but could not run, for awesome fascination at her strength, for even yet the breeze's side she hopes. The candle is all but snuffed, and yet one spark, one pitiful, stubborn, glorious, relentless spark, will not be quenched. She will not fade away. She loves, there it is. Even still she dares to love. Just a tale passed on the fickle wind, and yet the weight of its fantasy shocked my sleeping soul. All my actions, pale, transparent, and flimsy, vanished in the shadow of such a love, such pain. I slowly turned my trembling steps into the night. The darksome labyrinth loomed before me, moaned and sucked me into the whirl of pain, despair, and hate. Harpies like a pack of howling wolves tore at my ears and shivered my resolve, but yet it held. By ever so little it held. I sought her. Through narrow, devious ways I searched, peeked through cracks in walls and peered through bars and cellar windows. I kept an eye for her, and the other looking back, always aware of the way out, for I purposed, when she was found, that I would take her hand and gently lead the way, back through the treacherous paths and hateful looks, and clutching, clawing keepers to freer air, to a place where light and music, silence and peace, can still exist and stories all end well. Once in those early days I saw a glimpse of her face from across a crowded, sullen street. She stepped through a sickly yellow pool of light from the street lamp, but she never even paused. When I crossed and looked, again she was long gone. I redoubled my efforts, and vowed one day to bring a smile to those fair, set, determined lips. Then one day I saw a fallen child, with broken wings and tangled, dirty hair, caught in a pit, thrown in an abandoned crypt. Worn-out dreams lay wasted round her feet, scornfully plucked in the bud, never to bloom. Dirty hands tossed cold hard cash her way, to make her dance or sing or play to please her crowd. So ugly she was. Not the lady's child. That child was long since dead, I know, but still. Once that child had suffered, as now this girl suffers. It won't take long, I thought. I'll show her out and then return to the search. I did. I returned to her late at night and broke the lock, and guided her through the well-known maze of streets to the tangle's edge, and set her free. She ran, and never once looked back. I turned back in. I went back to my search, but once again I came upon a child, and once more paused my dogged search long enough to get him out. Another glimpse of her, but when I arrived, not her, instead 2 more of these pitiable urchins. By now the keepers had learned I knew the way. This time I had to fight to make it through. To the edge, and then frantic I rushed back in. These distractions had to stop, or I would never find the lady, but now, whichever way I turned, were pitiful faces, children, women, the old, the lame, the sick, the hungry, and the weak. I walked with them. 1 or 2 at a time I got them out. I couldn't turn them away. They told their tales, and I listened, and wept, and fought to clear the way. Every time was harder than the last. These middle years were years of many scars. The keepers scarred my body, the children my heart, and both bled freely, but each time I went back. And now I am old, and tired, and winding down. My back is bent, my beard is grey and wild, my hands are crooked, gnarled, and lined with scars. My heart looks much the same, or so I'd guess, inscribed as it is with so many tales of pain. I have not seen the lady these many years. Perhaps she lives no more, perhaps never did. I might have made her up, a silly dream that will not go away, but holds more firm than the rocks I hide behind. Pitiless is hope. Weariness covers my soul like a hood of black. I am dying. That's how it is. I'm glad to go, even though there are still so many more, but I am full of other people's pains. I've drained to the dregs that goblet of human sorrow. From the first to the last the stories stay with me, of kept and keeper alike, and scars of both. And now I'm done. Right now, this trip, my last. I know this one is my last, because I fell. Just like that, my face hits the city street. I cannot rise to my feet, my breath is short. My chest sinks like an anvil on my heart as it finally breaks. I have never seen her smile. But what is this? The falling darkness breaks, the sky goes grey, then teal, then blue, then gold, and light falls on my head with searing heat, and all the weight of gold-poured liquid hot, intolerable for one brief hellish breath, far worse than life itself, and then a gasp of air. Only not air. Or rather, this at last is air. Before this moment I've never tasted air. I've never yet known light before this day. The brightest day of life was shades of grey, and air before a vacuum next to this. This air could make a meal, this light a bath, a shower, an ocean of curling waves of gold, washing over and through my broken frame, till every scar shines out with borrowed light, a gift, a jewel, a royal diadem. I draw this joy up from the very grass, and a laugh rings from my chest, the very first I ever truly laughed. Mirth pours out, sounding a mad triumphant organ fugue, answered in kind, in brave bright jubilee in the lady's eyes, for there at last she stands, beautiful as the glowing moon, radiant with light. Over, around, and with, and by, and through, the light is pleased to shine, and even thus, lovingly tempered, still it is too much. She smiles. Too much. I could almost die again. She stands amid a joyful throng, a queen, a mother, her children whose stories now are mine, keeper and kept alike, now whole and free. Thus I lived my life, and all my life was this, was bliss, for I have made my lady smile.